Hello there.
But what does this have to do with Shulk?
Hello there guys, how's it going? I hope you're all having a good day so far. Today, it is finally time to get started on Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Now, I've been thinking about streaming this for a long time. It is a game that I've been considering, that then I've just chosen other games over for many years now, and there's been various reasons as to why that is. So why am I streaming it now? Well, first of all, it's just fun. It is a fun game. It's one of my favourite Wii U games. I've already streamed my other favourite Wii U games, so you know I might as well finish off the set. Also, it is the 40th anniversary of Zelda this year, and as I've kind of said and alluded to, I have a lot of Zelda plans in my future. But the big plan this year is obviously I'm going to be streaming Tears of the Kingdom. I've announced that, I've said that, I promised that, that's going to be happening. That is going to take up a large chunk of the year. But Tears of the Kingdom is kind of detached from the history of the Zelda series. It's very much its own thing. It and Breath of the Wild are effectively a soft reboot of the franchise. Whereas Hyrule Warriors is kind of the opposite. It is a love letter to that history that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom kind of leave behind, and I thought it would be the perfect game to complement Tears of the Kingdom and just kind of show my love to more of the Zelda franchise than that game otherwise would. Also, another reason is this game has some absolutely fucking fantastic music, and I would like to share it with all of you. If you're a big fan of music that combines like rock and orchestra, you'll love this. If you love Zelda music, you'll love this. There's a lot of really great remixes. There's also a lot of really great original tracks as well. Honestly, it is a contender for one of my favourite soundtracks of all time, and obviously that list includes the Xenoblade games as well, so it's high praise. Right. So currently, this playthrough, while it is sitting in the main slot, is going to be entirely focused on Legend mode, which is the game's main story mode. Obviously, I have said I would like to aim for 100%. It's going to be a very long journey, but it isn't going to be entirely within this main Saturday, every other Wednesday slot that I do when I'm doing all of this. For now, the story is all that matters. It's not the most, you know, it's not Shakespeare, but I think it's a fine enough story. It's fun. It's full of fan service. There's a lot of really cool moments and funny moments. Before I do anything, though, just want to, stay on normal. Probably keep the health gauges. Are these for enemy grunts? Yeah, I'll just keep those off. Mid-battle cinematics, we'll keep those on. 8-bit weapons, that will come up much later. Controller on. Yeah. I think I'm going to go with Warriors style, which is Y and X for your attacks, but if you're more familiar with the Zelda games, there is a control scheme for you where you attack with the B button like you do in most classic Zelda games. Obviously, now that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have come out, it's kind of less applicable to that. Volume settings, there's no point really playing with that. There's no voice acting in this game, so I don't really see the need to mess around with the sound that much, which actually does lead me on to a bit of a criticism that I do have before we get into anything. This game has no voice acting, but it does that thing where there are fully animated cutscenes where their lips are flapping away and nothing is coming out. And back when this game first launched, that didn't bug me as much. But in recent years, I have shat on the modern Pokemon games for doing that exact thing, and I feel I have to be consistent in my criticism, and it does take me a little bit out of it here. I don't really like when games do this. It takes what could be a cool cutscene and makes it fall really flat. I did have a follow-up point to this, but my mind has gone completely blank. So I think why they did this was because this is obviously pre-Breath of the Wild. The Zelda series had no voice acting prior to Breath of the Wild. Link was obviously always a mute. So I think that's why they did it, is to kind of stay in line with that, but I don't think that's a good reason to do it. All of the other Zelda games tend to be more text-based in their cutscenes. They don't really have this same issue, and you'll see what I mean. So I don't think that's a good reason to not include it. Anyway, let's jump into things. Yeah, so that does mean I won't be muting for cutscenes, because what am I muting for? I'm going to have to read all the dialogue anyway. Impa, the same nightmare keeps haunting me. An omen, perhaps, of dark times ahead for Hyrule. Dark times. If that is indeed true, we must locate him. We must find the reborn spirit of the hero. We will find no fully realized heroes here. We'd be wiser looking elsewhere. Your Highness! A horde of monsters is marching towards Hyrule Castle. Impa, prepare the troops for battle. Whoa, isn't that the princess? What's she wasting her time with us for? So I guess we just wait to hear what happened? Hey, Link. What do you think you're doing with that sword? So of course for the loading screen we do have a nice rendition of the Great Fairy theme. I'm not going to mute for absolutely every single track because ones like this aren't too mind-blowing. They're nothing too out of the ordinary for the Zelda series. But there's a lot of music in this game I'm going to be muting for. Just you wait. This particular track is not one of them. It has a really great intro, but it is very, very repetitive, which I suppose does kind of help me right now, because it means I can actually sit and explain things rather than listening to the music. So, Warrior's gameplay is pretty simple. We have light attacks, and we have heavy attacks. If you string your light attacks together, you will do an attack string, and then if you interrupt that with a heavy attack, you will do a combo. Now Link here is a pretty simple character to use. He has a lot of really reliable quick attacks, and his heavy attacks and combos tend to be variants of the spin attack, which is really, really good for crowd control. Link is just, honestly, one of the most solid and reliable characters in the game. He's very powerful, very easy to play. If you're new to this sort of game, he is honestly the perfect character to start with, because there's nothing too flashy, nothing too complex, and you're not missing out on much by playing with him, because he is pretty powerful. I think they've balanced him really, really well. There is an element system in this game, which the game explains very poorly, and it is kind of confusing with how it's handled. So every weapon in the game has an element tied to it, and every single enemy that isn't just one of these basic grunts has a weakness. You will do more damage if you attack them with their weakness. I don't know how much more, I don't think it's that significant. This doesn't apply to the characters you're controlling though, so if I was to fight against Link, I would want to use dark weapons against him, but I don't have that same dark weakness when I'm playing as him. But there is a second level to elements, which is elemental effects. Basically, some combos will put down an elemental effect on the enemy. This is usually correlated to what element the weapon is, but not always. And these are kind of weird. They have some weird effects. So the light element that Link here is using, basically any enemies that get afflicted with that will receive more damage, and the multiplier on the damage they receive, I believe, is related to how many enemies you've killed in your current combo. It's a really, really weird effect. There are certain situations where they can be pretty powerful, but honestly, most of the time, I have just never paid attention to elements, and I've been fine. And yeah, that is about all the attention I'm going to give them. You might be wondering, which version of Link and Zelda is this? Because obviously there are a lot of them throughout the series. And the answer is, it is none of them. These are completely new renditions of the character. I just let this cutscene play. So these are completely new versions of Link and Zelda. A lot of people I have seen feel a bit weird about that, because they're like, well, this isn't a proper Zelda game, why aren't we just playing with familiar ones? But I actually like it a lot, because we're going to be getting into a ton of fan service later on, and I feel like this kind of legitimizes Hyrule Warriors as its own era in the Zelda universe before we start dragging in all the fan service stuff. It just makes it feel kind of more complete, I guess. You will have also noticed that there is a lot of dialogue happening mid-battle, and again, this is where my complaint about voice acting comes in. This is a very fast-paced, action-based game. If you want me to pay attention to that dialogue, voice act it, because I do not have time to read that while I'm fighting, and there's just so much of it, and a lot of it is just kind of meaningless anyway, so I'm not going to be reading any of that out. But yeah, anyway, this version of Link and Zelda, I think starting Link off as a soldier like this works really well for this particular setting. It is an army-based game, so it makes sense to just get Link straight into that role, no messing around, he's fighting straight away, he knows how to fight. So, it's a couple of mechanics that the game has introduced to me that I've not really explained yet. First of all are special attacks, which is the yellow meter. You will build up force throughout the game, and if you've ever played Four Swords Adventures, you might recognise the drop that fills this up, because they are force gems from that game. But basically your special attack is, if I can actually activate it, hold on, is a big ass special attack. It will just kill a bunch of enemies. The green bar is your magic, and I will talk about that when I actually get enough of it to do something with it. Trying to remember if Fire Emblem Warriors had voice acting. I think it does, yeah, because Fire Emblem, as a series, does just tend to have a lot more voice acting. So I'm not going to like massively break down every character's combos and how they play and all that, because that sort of content already exists on the internet. There are people out there who are much more knowledgeable on this game than me and can explain it in a more interesting, concise way than I can. I'm just going to give a very, very basic gist of what each character does, and then kind of just get on with things. Right. I think that's all of the tutorializing that I need to do. We can actually start playing the game and having fun now. There's always a lot of stuff that needs to be said at the start of a game. Okay, so we've actually got some music here that I'd like you guys to listen to as soon as this cutscene ends. So this is the standard theme that plays against these like other enemy warriors. I think it is based on an existing Zelda boss theme, but I'm blanking on which game it's from. But it is very familiar. So this character is Volga, and yes, as Ben has alluded to, his helmet is looking very familiar. So he is technically one of the 3 original villains for this game, but he is very heavily inspired by Volvagia from Ocarina of Time. Also, he is a human warrior that can transform into a dragon form. It reminds me a lot of Onox from Oracle of Seasons. I don't know if that's an intentional reference or if it's just a coincidence, but given how many other games do get referenced across the course of this game, I like to think that it's intentional. So you'll notice that this like hexagon thing has been popping up. That is the weak point gauge. Basically, the fastest way to take down enemies is to dodge their attacks, wait for that to pop up, and break it down. Once you've broken it, you will do a special attack against them. Get out of my way, boy. How noble. Enjoy your shared grave. Oh no. Could you be? Right, let's finish this guy off. Okay, so the repetitive music that was dominating the game up until now has gone. It's time for our obligatory rendition of the main theme / the overworld theme. Now, in the grand scheme of the overall soundtrack, I wouldn't say that this is one of my favourite themes in this game, but in isolation, it is a really, really nice rendition of the overworld theme. It's got a good energy to it, and it kind of is just a good example of the kind of music this game has, so even though it's not one of my favourites from this game, I felt like I had to show it just for that wider context. Okay, it's a Zelda game. It's time for one of the most important cutscenes in a Zelda game. It wouldn't be a classic Zelda game without the chest opening cutscene, and I hate that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Do not have this. Needs to come back. Anyway, I got some bombs. Toss them at enemies for a devastating effect. They're also great for blowing up boulders. So if there's one thing that Zelda is known for, it is items, and Hyrule Warriors has implemented various classic Zelda items. You use them by pressing ZR. Once you've got multiple, you can switch through them with the D-pad. Plus, how else would you want a game like this to start in terms of music? Exactly. This is how you start a game like this. You start it with the classics. You want them, they're yours, my friend. So the items don't flow into combat as seamlessly as I would like. You do kind of just have to stop and use them. But they're not the worst thing in the world. They have a purpose, they serve it quite well. Right, there are some collectibles on this level, and I would like to make sure that I get all of them because, you know, going for 100% here. I have actually pulled myself up an interactable map so I can keep an eye on everything I need to be doing. Have not had that pulled up now. Probably should pull that up. Okay, so I've got a good idea of where I'm going for this. Right, I'll deal with this tutorial in just a second. Let me just check where I'm going on the map. Okay. Right, so, new in the Definitive Edition version of this game, well, I think it was technically first introduced in the 3DS version, Hyrule Warriors Legends, but the less said about that version, the better, is character switching. You are able to switch around and play as the various different characters on the map. You can also command them to go and complete various objectives around the map. I think the commanding isn't from the 3DS version. I think that is new to Definitive Edition because it's based on Fire Emblem Warriors. And honestly, they are two much-needed additions. When you could only play as one character and you were kind of just running around the place trying to manage the whole battlefield by yourself, it was kind of a nightmare. So, let's switch to Zelda. Zelda is a much more complicated character than Link. She uses a rapier, but her moveset mixes in bows and magic as well. Basically, she has a mechanic. Her heavy attack will charge up these light balls, and then they will enhance her various combos and make them stronger. So that sort of stuff you wouldn't be able to do without light balls, and you will spend them by doing these attacks. Like Link, she is also light element. She's a bit more focused on dueling individual enemies. Her options for crowd control aren't as good as Link's. But when it comes to dueling, she's probably one of my favourites in the game. She's quite tricky to use, but when you get the hang of her, she is really, really powerful. So you'll notice some of these regular enemies are a bit bigger and have health bars. These are captains. Usually they don't mean much. Like in this pack of enemies, the captains don't really do anything. But they do tie into the more strategic elements of this game. So you'll notice that there are these big squares on the map. These are keeps. And there are also these little diamonds. These are outposts. Warriors, well, basic fighters will spawn from those, and whether they're your fighters or enemy fighters will depend on who they belong to. So for an outpost, the captains are always available. To capture them, you literally just run up and kill the captain. Keeps are a little bit more involved because they're a lot more powerful. When you get inside one, you have to kill as many enemies as you can. You will notice just below my webcam there's sort of a health bar for the keep. That will go down with every single enemy that you kill, and when you get that to 0, a captain will spawn. You kill the captain, and the keep will become yours. My webcam is blocking the map. You know, I hadn't thought about that. I'm not sure which bit of UI is more important, so I'll leave it where it is at the moment. But you can kind of see some of them below where my webcam is. Right, okay, so collectibles. The first kind are Gold Skull Chillers. They will spawn basically when you kill 1,000 enemies on a map. So that is close by to Link. So I'm going to quickly head over to him. I can hear it. You've got to find them quick because if you're not careful, I believe they can despawn. And they are somewhere within the vicinity of the web that appears on the map. Again, you can't see that. There we go, there's my Skull Chiller. Let's get back to the main objective. Right, once this level is done, I will play around with my webcam positioning and decide where I want it to be. Okay, I believe the captain has spawned. So yeah, a lot of this game is managing keeps and the overall battlefield, but how much you have to pay attention to it depends on which level or challenge you're playing, basically. We have one more character playable in this... Oh, no, I can't play as her at the moment, never mind. Impa is also on the field. I was hoping that I could play as her. I guess not. Okay, there's not really much I can do at the moment. Now, while I do enjoy playing as Zelda, for the moment, it makes sense to focus my experience and all of that into Link. You'll see why. Because there are experience systems in this game, you level up as you kill enemies. It affects the amount of health you have, and I think it does also affect the damage that you do. Okay. Thank you, Proxy, I know. So, Proxy has been introduced for a while. I've kind of just not acknowledged her. She is essentially this game's version of Navi. She serves basically the same purpose. She explains things. She's also kind of Link's voice within the story. Now, quite interestingly for this kind of game, this version of Link actually does have a little bit of a character arc. It's nothing too major, but it is there, and I will be bringing attention to it when it comes up. As for Zelda, her design isn't really particularly inspired by any existing ones. She's pretty different from a lot of the other Zeldas, I would say. More of a warrior princess, warrior mage kind of vibe. And in terms of design, at least, I think it's one of my favourite iterations of Zelda. She's just so elegant and stylish, and it's just a really, really cute but also badass design. Character-wise, probably not. I mean, it's not that kind of game. And the Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword versions of Zelda are just top tier. Right, okay, so we've got to head to the Fairy Fountain. I'm going to take control of Link, and I'm going to command Zelda to head there on her own. Because as Link, I'm going to take care of some objectives on the way. Now, you really don't need to just go and kill all these regular enemies that are hanging around. I just kind of like to, because I'm OCD and seeing the map turn blue makes me happy. Regular enemies like this, they can occasionally take keeps and outposts by themselves, but they're pretty ineffective. They're basically just there for you to grind up, like, special attacks and stuff like that. Ben's bloodlust cannot be contained. Exactly. Right, let's just get rid of this Lizalfos. So, as you can see, while this particular part of the game isn't based on any one particular Zelda game, the enemies are. These are Skyward Sword Bokoblins mixed with Ocarina of Time Lizalfos. It's an interesting mix, but I think it works quite well. It's nice seeing various different games' enemies in working together with each other. What did you miss during the ads? I went out of my way to kill enemies that I didn't have to. Where are these Lizalfos coming from? Okay, they're over by Impa, so that actually gives me an opportunity to talk about her. So, Impa is a bit of a heavy hitter. She's quite good at dueling like Zelda, has a few crowd control options. She is a lot faster than you would expect. Now, in the grand scheme of things, she's probably mid-tier overall, but the tiers and like viability of characters doesn't really matter all that much. If you can play the game well, you can succeed with anyone. And even if there are characters that are better than her, I find her quite fun to play. Ooh, swinging around a big sword like this is just really satisfying. Now, she has our first element other than light. She is a water element character. And water element has probably the simplest effect. Enemies will get this bubble over their head, and it's basically just basic damage over time. You like her massive anime sword? Yeah, me too. So this version of Impa, design-wise, is kind of a cross between her Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword versions. Sort of the ponytail, the ninja aesthetic are very similar to Skyward Sword, whereas the colours are a lot more similar to Ocarina of Time. And for a long time, this was my favourite version of Impa. She's just really, really cool. She's fun to play as. She's badass. Since then, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity has come out, and that version of Impa has probably taken over, but this one is still really damn cool. Link, you ran away from where I was going. Oh my god, one of them actually hit me. That never happens. Link went away from where I actually wanted him to go. Something Cloud's Buster Sword. It is very Cloud, yeah. Right, I would like to capture this keep, just kind of because. Okay, I'm not doing very well against this Lizalfos. Okay, he is down. Was Skyward Sword the most recent game before this came out? It was the most recent 3D game, but the most recent game overall was A Link Between Worlds. But this game definitely references Skyward Sword a lot more than it does A Link Between Worlds. One slight complaint I do have is it takes a little while for characters to enter this sprint animation, and they are quite slow without it. In the two sequels to this game, you can immediately enter into that by dodging, but you can't do that here. It's a little bit annoying now that I'm slightly more used to the better controls of the sequels. That said, as a game, I think I do prefer this one overall to the two follow-up games. Zelda, are you coming in, or do I have to manually bring you in? Okay, I think I have to manually bring you in. In the Wii U original, because you only played as Link, you didn't actually have to bring both of them here. Remember that screwing you over a bit? Yeah, it is kind of annoying to deal with. Now, I do love the look of the Great Fairy Fountain here. It's a very, very pretty temple with this water flowing down from the ceiling. Okay. Certain missions will have these magic circles in them, and they're basically just big enemy nukes. But they're very, very fun to watch. And yes, of course they use the Ocarina of Time Great Fairies, because why wouldn't they? They're iconic for good and bad reasons. Also, I love that the Gorons are pretty much just ripped straight from Ocarina of Time. They just put some armor on them and that's it. They look so goofy and I love them. Alright, let's kill some fools. Okay, now that I've done that, the keep I'm actually after should hopefully open up. I forgot that morale was a mechanic, but yeah, basically, depending on how well or how badly you're doing, your various soldiers will become more or less effective. Okay, the Dark Wizard is planning something. And we got some more music to listen to. absolutely fantastic remix of the King Dodongo and Volvagia boss theme from Ocarina of Time. Love whenever this track kicks in. So, I am ignoring the boss for now, because I want to use this opportunity to go after some collectibles. Because there is a second type of collectible that can be found in most levels in this game, and that is pieces of heart and heart containers. And, well, if you've ever played a Zelda game, they work exactly how you'd expect them to. However, they are character specific, so you can only collect them as the character they are for, and they will only increase that character's health. There should be one over here as well. Yep, here we go. If I could open it, please. So, of course, on the Wii U, this level was designed to be played entirely as Link, so all of the collectibles here are for him. I am going to swap over to Impa for the boss, though, just to change things up a little bit. I keep pressing A and doing my special by accident. I think muscle memory from other games is screwing me a bit. So, bosses here are implemented in a really fun way. Basically, you remember those items we got? You use them like you would for an actual Zelda boss. They have very specific weak points that you need to target with them, and that will open up their weak point gauge. King Dodongo, well, you know what they say, can't wait to bomb some Dodongos. Now, moveset-wise, it is basically as if they took King Dodongo straight out of Ocarina of Time, and then just fed him a bunch of coke. Design-wise, it is very clearly, just from the shape of it, based on its Ocarina of Time appearance. But what they've done is they've taken that Ocarina of Time base and combined it with how Dodongo looked in Zelda 1. And I kind of love what they've done with the bosses here. They've really modernized all of the Zelda 1 bosses, and they all just look so fantastic. Like, this is probably my favorite design for King Dodongo. Okay, I will get to that mechanic. Actually, yeah, here we go. So, this is focus mode, which you can do when you have full magic. It is basically a timed buff. You'll be a lot faster, you will do a lot more damage. Some characters have specific mechanics that tie into this mode, but Impa is not one of those. And you can end your focus mode with a second type of special attack. Is this the one with the best name in this game? Who would that be? Who are you talking about then? Not quite sure what you're referring to there. Oh, Manhandler. Yes. Manhandler is in this game. We'll be seeing him probably today, actually. And that's King Dodongo down, and I do believe that's the first level done. Hence why I ignored him to go get Link's collectibles. We can't locate Princess Zelda. I pray she's safe. I must ask for your help in finding her. I trust you are willing. Link, be a hero worthy of wearing this tunic.
The Triforce is the harmonious union of power, wisdom, and courage. It has been the object of countless battles between the forces of light and darkness. Each time the Triforce fell into the clutches of evil, Hyrule was plunged into misery. but in every age, a hero, clad in green, would restore peace to the land. During one of these dark times, the legendary hero split the spirit of evil into 4 fragments, sealing each away to finally break the cycle of destruction. 3 of the fragments were scattered across time and space. The final fragment was sealed in a sacred temple built upon holy ground, imprisoned by the blade of evil's bane.
So, they're not allergic to voice acting. Why is that voice acted, but none of the actual cutscenes? I don't really understand, but it is what it is. Right, so now that I've finished a level, there's a lot of housekeeping to be done, so yeah, you're not just stuck with whichever weapon the character starts with. You can unlock new ones that will have various different skills applied to them. There's like fusion systems and skill transfer systems, all that good stuff. I'll probably do a lot of this sort of management stuff between streams, but I'll do a little bit of it here now. So for collecting gold sculptures, you will get a piece on these illustrations. There's quite a few of these to collect. Considering Prime 4, Nintendo just seems to be inconsistent about voice acting. Yeah, they really do. They can only afford 1 voice actor. Right, okay, let's jump into the bazaar then. That is a lot of characters there right off the bat that aren't meant to be unlocked. So badges are how you upgrade your character. You can unlock new combos for them, make them resist various elements, make them more defensive, give them various other kind of miscellaneous skills. So here we go. I'm going to unlock a healing item for Link. Then let's get him a new combo. And yeah, we can make him take keeps more easily. So all of these items that I'm spending are dropped by the various enemies in the game. Let's do the same for Impa. So the training dojo is just how you level up characters that have fallen behind, nothing too crazy there. The apothecary, I don't think I've ever used. I think these are just various like buff effects that you can apply to yourself during battles, like increasing the amount of weapon drops and stuff like that. And then the smithy is locked for now, it seems. Okay. Why is it telling me about characters I've not unlocked yet? That is quite bizarre. Right, before I jump into this level, I need to blow my nose. Of course the smithy's locked, we haven't met Tails yet. I can't believe you spoiled that Tails is in this game. Might have to ban you for that one, Ben. Right, into the second level then. I think I shall play as Impa for this one. Although I do believe with the game's new systems that were added in Legends and Definitive Edition, I'm going to end up playing as both of them anyway.
After an arduous battle, Link and his comrades slew King Dodongo, but the beast was only ever intended as a distraction. The army of monsters had taken Hyrule Castle. Worse, after the dust had settled, Princess Zelda was nowhere to be found. Impa and Link searched the battlefield for any sign of her, but to no avail. Although the battle had been lost, Impa foresaw Link's importance to the coming war. She bestowed upon him a green tunic, the sign of the legendary hero. Link did not believe himself worthy of the honor, but he was determined to help Impa and her remaining soldiers locate Zelda. Weeks passed. Impa heard a rumor that a handful of soldiers were holding out against the monsters in Faron Woods. The leader of this resistance was supposedly a young woman. Impa dared to hope that this unknown woman was Zelda. Link and Impa decided to make their way to the forest by way of the Elden Caves, a path with its own dangers.
Right. Take a guess what this music is a remix of. They've changed the bloody house theme into like a proper War March theme, and you know what? I think it works really, really well. It completely changes the vibe of the piece, but in a really, really good way. They've taken a piece that probably wouldn't have worked in this game otherwise, and found a way to fit it in, and I think that's really, really clever. So I've given some thought to the webcam placement for this stream, because obviously there's UI on the top left and the top right. I think I'm gonna keep it where it is. I think it's more important for you guys to see the health and how I'm actually playing, what special moves and stuff I'm doing. The map isn't really all that important, and you'll see it whenever I bring up the pause screen and do commands and stuff anyway. I could put it on the bottom. I do have the option for that, but bottom left has all the dialogue in. Maybe bottom right, there's not much going on down there besides the experience stuff, but I don't know, something about having the webcam at the bottom of the screen just doesn't sit right with me. I can't really explain why. It is what it is. Anyway, jumping into this level, there is some more music that I would like to listen to, and this is one of the first original tracks for this game that is coming up, because, as I've kind of said, we're kind of in a new era in the Zelda timeline at the moment, so it's got its own themes and stuff. This area is, well, it's Elden Caves, is essentially this era's version of Death Mountain, but since it's not a previous one, we've got a new theme. That was a lot of preamble that I probably didn't need to say. Let's just jump in and listen to it. I absolutely love this theme. It's just very, very high tempo and energetic. I love the guitar. You will also may notice that this game actually has dynamic music, so most of the level themes will react to when you go into focus mode, when you're in an enemy keep, and they'll add some slight percussion and stuff like this. However, this level and this particular theme probably has the best example of that. There are two distinct halves of this level. We're currently in the Lava Cave version, but you also saw the Crystal Cave version during the intro cutscene, and the vibe of the music completely shifts in that area, and it is really, really, really cool. We're going to be listening to that when I get over to the Crystal Caves. Right, let me just check that this isn't a keep that I need to capture. Okay, no. Doesn't matter who I capture this one with. Yeah, I think this theme is also just a really good example that this game's soundtrack isn't just good because of the remixes. Like, this theme just basically doesn't reference any existing Zelda music that I recognize or know of. But it's still one of the best tracks on the soundtrack. I mean, every track in this game is one of the best tracks in the soundtrack. I think Link has completed the objective while I was pissing about. I guess that's why he's the hero. Did I mute the game? Oh. There we go. I think I caught the unmute button twice, and that lowered it to like 0. Okay, thank you for catching that. Gotta love scuff and technical difficulties. I mean, it's mostly just my mouse. It kind of just double clicks when it wants to sometimes. Maybe I should see if I can put a cooldown on those buttons. Thought I did it to talk about the music at first. No, that was completely unintentional. Right, I'm going to leave Link up there, and I'm going to have Impa head down here and capture this keep. Just so that this Lizalfos doesn't become a problem later on, because he might. Okay, there we go. Right, let's go support this Bombchu then. So, yeah, unfortunately there are the occasional escort mission. But they're not too bad. Also, it's a giant Bombchu from Ocarina of Time. I love this thing. It is so goofy and stupid, but it is amazing in the best way. Right, Link should be clearing out the spire for me. I just need to get this thing moving. Right, I'm going to have Link cut off those Poes that are coming in. Doesn't seem to want to let me target them. Okay. Gives you flashbacks. Thankfully, it is a lot less annoying than the Bombchu bowling, although I actually quite like the Bombchu bowling. It's a minigame I've always enjoyed. Right, Link, can you actually target and fight these guys now? Yes. This bomb shoe does not want to get started. All these little enemies around it are scaring it. Okay, maybe it will probably help if I take out that outpost that's just north of me. I don't find them too bad to aim. I'm pretty used to it. That's probably because I've played Ocarina of Time so many times. Back when the 3DS was new, it was probably one of my most played games on the system. Right, are we moving? There we go. Right, while that's moving, until it stops, I'm going to switch to Link and get rid of these Poes. Of course, the enemies in this level are ripped straight from Ocarina of Time. We've got the Skull Children as our basic grunts, and then the Poes are very obviously the Ocarina of Poes as well. Okay, Skull Shula has spawned in. Just deal with this Poe. And then go get my Skull Shula. You'd have probably skipped the bowling if it weren't for streaming. I mean, that's fair. I think it's quite a unique minigame, and I enjoy it for that reason. Right, I do believe it's on... I think I read the south wall. Yep, there it is. I will be trying to get every collectible as I go through the story, but if I miss any, I can always come back to them when I'm going for 100%, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. It is tricky. It does take a while to get the hang of it. Am I maxing out characters? I'm going to collect all of the heart containers for them. I don't know that I'm going to like max them all to max level and min-max their weapons and stuff. I'll see how things go. This is going to be a long playthrough, so that might kind of just happen as I go. Can I claim this? No. Making out is what other people online do with these characters. I wonder who this could be. The princess isn't dead. You'll reunite with her at some point during your journey, but not quite yet. You can call me Sheik. It's a name that comes from the Sheikah tribe. They were servants of the Hyrulean royal family. The Sheikah tribe? That's impossible. We can talk more once we get out of this cave. For now, let me join you. Right, enter one of the most broken characters in the game. Looks like I can't play as her at the moment, so I won't explain her just yet. But Sheik obviously is originally from Ocarina of Time. However, this is a new version of the character. This isn't the Ocarina version. Now, most people probably know who Sheik actually is, but for the sake of kind of presentation and playing up the plot, we're not going to talk about who she is for now. We're going to let it be a surprise. What we are going to do, though, is listen to the crystal version of this music. I think I do prefer the lava version of this theme, but the crystal version just has a really nice vibe to it as well. It's a bit less percussion-y, a bit more like techno-y, and I think it works quite well, and there's a nice juxtaposition between the two versions of the track. Right, it looks like Link has just killed those enemies down there that I sent him to deal with, which is nice. AI characters are a lot more helpful in this version of the game than they were on the Wii U. Right, I might actually want to get him back up here, because I have a funny feeling that one of these keeps is the one that I want him to take. Sheik is clearly... congrats to Sheik on her transition. Hey, Gakis, welcome to the stream. Yeah, so this Sheik, it's a much less androgynous design than the Ocarina of Time one. Like, she's much more obviously female, hence why I'm referring to this version as she. Obviously, the Ocarina of Time one is a bit more ambiguous until you know who their true identity. Right, Tunnel Square, that was an important one, I believe. Yes, there is an important thing in this keep, but I don't need to be Link for it. I don't think so, anyway. That said, just in case... let's get him over there. Now, while I am playing as Link, I do want to give a bit of praise to his design in this game. It is very much the classic green tunic, nothing too surprising there, but they've kind of soldierified it, given him a bit more armor and chainmail, and I really, really, really love the scarf. It's very dynamic when he's fighting, and it makes him a bit more interesting to look at. Plus, I like to think that it's teasing the blue he'd end up wearing in Breath of the Wild. There's like a little bit of foreshadowing there. They should bring the scarf back. Oh, yes, absolutely. I love the scarf. Right, so the third kind of collectible that you can find are new weapons, and I'll be talking about those after this chapter because what weapon is contained isn't exactly made clear while you're mid-level. Right, I am hoping this will let me play as Sheik soon, at some point in this level. So Link gets a scarf in a 2014 spin-off, and it's a cool part of the character's design. Sonic gets a scarf. And it ruins the series. Oh yeah, I forgot summoners were a thing. They don't come up very often, but they are quite annoying. They will just continually summon enemies, hence the name. You gonna let me in to deal with the summoner? Yeah, they. I like to think that Nintendo took some inspiration from the scarf for Breath of the Wild. And yeah, I'd like to see... It is a good solution to fix how do we get him back into green, is give him a nice dash of blue. Speaking of Link being green, kind of somewhat related, now that these stills for the Zelda movie have come out, I am very glad they're giving him the green tunic in that and not the blue. Because I think if he'd gone blue in the film, that probably would have really cemented that as the look for Link now. And I do like the blue, but the green is iconic. Right, assault troops are a really annoying mechanic. They will basically beeline straight for keeps and try and take them. So I'm going to cut some of them off as Link here, and then I'm going to switch over to Sheik. It's funny you should say that, Sam, because the Breath of the Wild version of Link does get to wear this outfit, because it's in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And it looks damn nice in that art style. Okay, so some enemies will also prompt you to use items to open up their weak spot. It's not required like it is for the bosses, but it can be quite helpful to take them down that way. The green looks stupid and gaudy, and you think Link deserves to look stupid. I mean, it just fits the character well, I think. He's always had a strong association with the forest, and forests are green. Okay, so Sheik. Sheik is the most broken character in the game. Sheik attacks with knives for her regular attacks. Her heavy attack, though, she will play the harp. Now that alone probably doesn't seem very impressive, but each of her combos will imbue her with an element. And then when she plays the harp with said element, she will gain a special effect. She can create this buzzsaw around her, that's pretty powerful. She can create a shield that will absorb all damage done to her until it breaks. And then she can also summon a big triangle pattern that will just fill up her special gauge. On top of that, she has a different dodge compared to everyone else. And it basically makes her completely invulnerable by spamming it. And on top of that, her attacks are just really, really fast and powerful. She has no right being this absurdly broken, but she is fun to play, so I'm not going to complain too much. Okay, the assault troops are just politely waiting for me, it seems. Yeah, let's get that damage shield up, actually. Would be quite helpful. Never mind, you broke my combo. Yeah, as long as I have this water shield up, I'm basically invulnerable. There are a lot of levels in the adventure mode that will grade you based on how much damage you receive. And Sheik is just really, really good for those levels. It's really hard to aim bombs at that. Yeah, now I am very disappointed that we didn't get this version of Sheik in Smash, because I just think this design is really nice. And they gave her a hypothetical appearance based on a game she's not in, rather than her actual second game appearance design. Right, that's that keep over there that it wants me to capture. Is that Crystal Cave? Yes, I need to take that with Link. Was Ultimate still using the same? I think so? Actually, no. Ultimate based her design off Breath of the Wild. Based it off the Sheikah set in that game. I think. If I'm remembering correctly. But again, it is still a hypothetical design from a game that the characters are not actually in, as opposed to an actual design. Right, there's a Link's collectible for this level. Impa has one as well, but it's near the end, I believe. Right, let's get rid of this summoner. And then it looks like Impa's found the main target. Okay, that was really quick. So over the course of this series, I am going to try and play as every character and every weapon at least once. Now, this game is long enough that that probably won't be an issue at all. It'll be very, very easy to do. Some characters I will play as more than others, just because I prefer playing as them, but I'm going to try and give them all an equal time in the spotlight. And I think right now should be Impa's time. That's what I'm feeling. To be fair for everyone but Young Link, Ocarina was still the most recent with Melee. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna... not gonna judge that. And yeah, I get why they gave her a Twilight Princess design in Smash, especially since there's a transformation element in Brawl. But in Ultimate there's not, it's just weird. Right, Sheik, got a job for you. That crystal chandelier up there is really cool. I've never really taken the time to just appreciate how these levels look. I think I guess the generic Zelda ones are a lot less appreciated than the game-specific ones, but they do look nice. They're still cool battlefields. Right, there should be one more piece of heart here. Okay, I see where it should be on the map. I do not know how I get there yet. Landing those bombs on them is hard. Yeah, because you can't, like, change the distance of how far they go, and they tend to just shoot over them a lot. I don't tend to go for the item weak spots on enemies most of the time, just because it's often a bit of a hassle. Right, there should be a bomb around here somewhere. A bombable rock. Okay, thank you, Proxy. I think we all figured that. I think it's in there, the rock that I'm looking for. Okay, anyway. It's time to be introduced to our second main villain character. This is Wizrow, who is obviously based on Wizrows and Pose from across the series. He is also based around a ring, which, again, I'm choosing to take as a very loose Oracles reference, because rings are a massive, massive part of that game. Or those games, I should say. There are two of them. Right, there is the bombable rock that I'm looking for. Yeah, Wizrow's design is really, really cool. I find him a really fun character. You love how the game thinks I'm still playing as Impa. I think that's probably just a leftover from the Wii U version where you can't switch characters mid-battle. That would be my best guess. I keep accidentally pressing A. I've got to stop doing that. Right, one of my bomb shoes is in danger. And the other one is heading straight to this danger. Anyway, while I'm dealing with this, we've got some more music that I'd like to listen to. It's another enemy warrior battle theme. Now, this particular theme is a very, very, very deep-cut reference. So, for those of you who've played or seen a playthrough of Skyward Sword, do you remember the big battle with all the Bokoblins as you fight down the sealed grounds to get to Girahim? right at the end of the game. This is a remix of the theme that plays then. And considering that that battle is basically proto-Hyrule Warriors, I love that they've brought it in and remixed it, and I think it's a really, really cool and action-packed remix as well. Anyway, there we go. Level is done. Quite a fun level, that one. A lot of different mechanics and objectives to juggle. And of course, we've got the classic Ocarina of Time boss victory theme. Of course we do. It's iconic. So yeah, levels that don't have an ending cutscene will instead just play the character's usual victory animation. These are all pretty cool. Right, so this is the Fire Rod. This is a second weapon for Link. Certain characters do have more than one weapon. I'm going to be taking that into the next level with Link. Not every character has multiple weapons, but Link being, well, the main character of the series, he does get that privilege. Okay, onwards to Faron Woods then, which is actually based on Ocarina of Time. We're going to be seeing the Deku Tree in this level. Right, let's take Link and let's give him the magic rod.
Link and his allies were saved from the dangers of the Elden Caves by a mysterious youth named Sheik. Joined by their new ally, Impa's troops exited the caves and emerged in Faron Woods. There, they found a hidden village overrun with monsters. While Link and Impa wanted to continue their search for Zelda, they could not ignore the plight of the villagers. Without hesitation, they sprang into battle.
It's based on Ocarina, despite being named after an area in a different game. Yes, well, it's kind of a fusion of the various different forest areas in the series, which are usually called Faron, Ocarina being one of the exceptions. But the Deku Tree is quite a big focal point of this level, and obviously it is the Ocarina of Time design. Right, so I think we're going to have a cutscene to start this one, if I remember correctly, but once that's done, there is another original theme that I would like you guys to listen to, which again is just really damn good. You. Are you the one leading these warriors? Yes, I am. You can use magic. Where did you learn your craft? Oh, well, I'm a sorceress. You know the one who started this war, Sia? We come from the same magical clan. Ah, well that explains it. And what does this Sia want from Hyrule? You really want to know? Well, help me defend the forest. If you do that, I might tell you. I really like the theme here, which I feel like I've said for every theme so far, but it very nicely combines a foresty vibe with the rock. I just love the fusion that so many of the themes in this game have going on. But yeah, this is not your granddaddy's fire rod. It doesn't just shoot out balls of fire. It transforms, it can turn into an axe, a flamethrower. It is really, really cool. Obviously, it's a much more ranged, crowd control and positioning focused weapon than the Sword and Shield for Link, and obviously it is a fire element. A fire element will basically turn launched enemies into bombs. They will explode when they land. It is pretty, pretty cool. Unfortunately, this weapon just categorically isn't as good as Link's Sword and Shield, and I do have a little bit of an issue with how multiple weapons for certain characters are handled in this game. Because there's always reasons that the game will force you into using certain characters. So whether you like using them or not, you will be forced to learn them and get good with them. Whereas with weapons, the game doesn't tend to force you one way or the other. It will usually just say, use this character, and the weapon is up to you. Which is nice for variety. If you like a certain character, you don't like their base moveset, you can try a different weapon. However, certain weapons do just tend to be better than others, and then it leaves you with very little reason to play those lesser weapons. Because conceptually, I like the Fire Rod, and it's a weapon that I have a lot of fun playing with. But if I want to do well at a level, I'm probably going to choose to take Link in with the Sword and Shield instead. It's kind of a weird complaint. It's not really a complaint, I guess it's just an observation or a nitpick, but it is something I have noticed with how I tend to go about playing these games. Right, anyway, people have been dying while I've been listening to music, so let's get the second item of the game, the bow and arrow. The enemies in this level are, of course, the Bullwins from Twilight Princess. This is I believe, the first Twilight representation that we've seen. Dekubaba's obviously from Ocarina of Time. And most of the game's enemies do tend to come from those three games. There are exceptions to that, but that does tend to be the main trend. Okay, there's one more Dekubaba to kill. These aren't really enemies, they're more obstacles. They're just obstacles that are themed as enemies. Okay, got some Gibdos in here, and these are the Twilight Princess versions. And yes, they can scream and freeze you, they're really annoying. Would have liked to have seen more 2D game representation. Yeah, the original wasn't so good for that, but that is something that Definitive Edition and the 3DS version do a lot better. But we're not going to be seeing too much of that during the story, but as I start getting into adventure mode and stuff, more of that will become apparent. Right, there are some enemies down there by Impa, so I'm just going to take care of them before they become a problem. Okay, I see Link is going away from those Gibdos over there. Yeah, I would like to see a sequel to this game that isn't so specifically tied to one game like Age of Calamity and Age of Imprisonment are. And I'd like that game to have more broader representation from across the series. Okay, Skull Chula has spawned in. Let's go get that quickly. Where actually is it? Under a boulder directly north of the West Square. I'm assuming that this over here is probably the West Square. I hear it. I don't see the boulder. Oh, there it is. It's not under a boulder at all. What are you talking about? It's in the right spot. There's no boulder. Alright, see how Link is getting on with the Gibdos. Not very well, apparently. Let's help him out. Thank you for freezing me. Really appreciate that. Yeah, these guys kind of just suck to deal with. And looks like Sheik has a couple to deal with as well. Oh, quite a lot to deal with. Oh my god. Alright, don't believe I've used Sheik's special yet, so this is a good opportunity. Quite a fun one, nice little reference to Skyward Sword, that. Basically uses the harp minigame from that game as an attack. Okay, I do have focus mode ready, but I'm going to hang on to that for the moment. That Gibdo is getting away from me. God, he is schmoving. Bloody hell. Didn't realise these guys were so fast. Right, let's finally open this chest that the game told me to open like 5 minutes ago. Ah, right, yes. So this is new. I think this was new in the 3DS version. Basically, you can use the Ocarina to warp around the map. I don't tend to use this as much as I probably should, but it is a nice quality of life addition. It's just one of those things where they've released a new version of the game with a new thing to make things easier. But I'm too stuck in my ways and too used to how it used to be. Oh, Wizro's planning something. Oh dear, he set the Deku Tree on fire. If I'm remembering correctly, I assume this is probably another Great Fairy moment. Yep, there we go. Right on cue. I have a good feeling I know where she is. I can see a conspicuously empty square in the top right corner of the map there. Right, while I'm looking around the map, there's a certain keep that I'm looking for. Yes, that one. I don't think I can get there quite yet. Okay, 2 Gibdo. Yep, definitely focus moding. Also, yes, all of the songs that Sheik plays on her harp are from Ocarina of Time. I didn't realise that she played Saria's song for her focus mode attack. That is really cute. I believe one of the ones she can play is the Song of Storms, and then the others are the various warp songs from Ocarina of Time. Oh my god! Oh, no, I didn't want to warp. I thought I had the bow still equipped. I'm on my way, Great Fairy. Don't worry. I'm coming. Now, one thing I don't like about Gibdos is that they can interrupt their weak point, which is really dumb. If you hold dodge, do you run? No. That is not a mechanic in this game. That is only in the later ones, unfortunately. Okay, this Gibdo is giving me a real hard time. Right, okay, another mechanic. On some maps, Kukos will spawn. They are a third neutral force. Don't antagonize them. I think you know what will happen. Ow. Hit my hand on my desk again. So, the Deku Tree's dead, right? He was on fire for quite a while. I don't think he's surviving that. Okay, right. New bit of music to listen to. This is a remix of Kakariko Village's theme from Twilight Princess, and it is such a good remix. I love the way they integrated the flute. It is so nice to listen to. Hey, Malgan, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a good day. The great Deku pile of charcoal doesn't have the same ring to it. Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that, yeah. Right, should be a chest under here. Oh, this is for Sheik. Wait, what? Oh god, I've got them the wrong way round. Oops. I sent Impa to where Sheik needs to go, and Sheik to where Impa needs to go. Right, well I'll send Impa on her way, and then run over there as Sheik. I'm such a silly Billy sometimes. Hey, but I've never once claimed to be smart, so you guys shouldn't be too surprised. I think there's plenty of evidence that I'm not. Yeah, I think already we've just seen why this game's soundtrack is so good. There's been so many really, really cool remixes that take tracks and give them completely different vibes that really, really fit this style of game. There's been so many good original tracks as well, and we've just scraped the surface. There is still so much more to hear. Like, yeah, the gameplay can be repetitive, and if you're not like a massive... If you're not into all the fan service, there's maybe not so much here for you. But you don't need to be a fan to appreciate this music. It is just good music. And of course, if you're a fan, it's even better. Right, Impa, let's capture the North Square. Okay, keep bosses spawned in. Nearly have complete control of the map. I didn't realise you were there. You sneakily spawned in behind me. Oh. Goddamn switch to D-pad. Was not trying to swap character there. I was trying to switch to my bow. It's funny, me and Ben were literally just discussing this before stream. Right, I believe that's all of the collectibles for this level. Right, I do see, before I head over to the enemy base, there is a lone commander unit just chilling in the corner over here. And I want to go see what he's doing. Discussing what? Oh, about the Switch D-pad. It screwed me over a little bit. Okay, here we go. It is time for another classic boss, and it's probably the most recurring boss in the series, Goma. And again, it is very inspired by the Zelda 1 design, and I love what they've done with Goma. Should be no surprise considering that I got the bow in this level. But yeah, this Goma is kind of a fusion of Spider and Crab. It's kind of weird looking, but it is really, really cool. Right, before I go deal with Goma, some Keep Saboteurs here that I'd like to get out of the way. The name kind of says what they do. Yeah, there we go, there's the tutorial. There are lots of like special units like these that have various different effects on the gameplay. Also, yeah, another new remix. Ocarina of Time has 2 boss themes. They're both remixed. It's not quite as good of a theme as the Dodongo one. I've always preferred the Dodongo boss theme in Ocarina. But it's still a good theme, it's still a nice remix. So Goma here is a bit more original than Dodongo was. She is not ripped out of any particular game. They've kind of just splashed together a bunch of different Goma-like attacks. I think it works quite well. She's quite fun to fight against. It's always quite satisfying to time your bow shots. Yeah, the laser eye is really fun. Kind of reminds me of like a Beamos a bit. Alright, the forest has been defended. I hoped Zelda would be here. Apparently that hope was in vain. Where could she be? Is she safe? May the goddess protect her.
For generations, Hyruleans have told the tale of the war across the ages. This is how it begins. Deep in the forests, far from mortal eyes, a great sorceress watched over the balance of the Triforce. Through her magic, she could see across ages, able to read the fates of all who lived, but never interfering. That is, until a unique soul caught her attention. The soul of the hero of legend, eternally reborn when Hyrule's need is greatest. Through her powers, the sorceress should have seen that the hero was bound to another. Instead, she saw only a soul that was unlike any she had known. And while the sorceress was preoccupied, a fragment of darkness, locked in its prison, saw an opportunity. The whispering darkness wormed its way into her heart. It pushed the light away and warped her curiosity into a desperate desire to possess the legendary hero's soul. Of course, this evil had its own desires. To use the Triforce to resurrect itself and conquer Hyrule once again. Having pushed the light from her heart, the darkness compelled her to open the Gate of Souls, the doorway of time itself. Monsters from across the ages pour through the gate, bringing ruin to the land of Hyrule once more.
I wonder who that mysterious darkness could be. I really have no possible clue. Yeah, so this entire conflict has started because the sorceress is into Link and it is unreciprocated. I mean, all I'm saying, Link, is maybe you should just take one for the team. I mean, if you see her, it's not really that much of a sacrifice. Yeah, the Wind Waker illustrations in that cutscene are really, really nice. Right, so this Linkle level that has just popped up is a side story that was added in the 3DS version. There are various levels that are part of this side story throughout the game. I'm going to wait and do them all in one go. For now, I'm going to proceed with the main story. But I think now I'm 3 levels in. This is a good opportunity for a quick break, so I will see you all in just a moment. She's obsessed with Link because they are both left-handed. I never noticed she was left-handed. That's a neat little detail. Anyway, I'll see you all in just a moment. Okay, right, I am back. Before I jump into this level, I would like to do a little bit of housekeeping in the bazaar. So the smithy is now unlocked, so there's a number of different things that you can do here. First of all, you can fuse weapons, so I can take a weapon like this, and then I can transfer different skills into it. It's quite a simple system. While we're kind of in the early stages, there's not really too much that we can do with it. Like, my better weapons already have a skill. You can remove skills as well. Appraising, I don't think is really something I can do right now. Basically, there are certain skills that need to be unlocked by defeating enemies, and I think that is linked to that. You can also sell any weapons for rupees if you want them. I'll probably do a lot of my weapon management off-stream. I mean, I'll probably do fusing and showing off what I'm making on stream, but like selling and all of that, that's not really that interesting to watch. Would like to do some badge stuff, though. Link has unlocked a second weapon, so he's got a few more badges that he can get. I am probably going to be using him the most over the course of Legend mode, so might as well put most of my upgrades into him. This reduces elemental damage. These, of course, are references to various items from across the series. Hey look, it's the Majora's Mask Mirror Shield. Very rarely see that referenced. Now, different characters will have different requirements as to what materials are needed for all of their badges. If everyone had the same requirements, it would be very, very, very grindy, because you'd just be killing the same enemies over and over. I mean, you kind of do that anyway, but you know what I mean. Okay, that's all I can get for Impa, for Sheik. Assuming I probably can't get very much. Now, the materials that they require do tend to be linked to the levels that they are playable in, thankfully. They've actually implemented some good game design. I know it's very rare these days. I can actually get more for Sheik than for Impa. Okay. I guess Impa and Link were probably sharing a lot of materials, and I used them all on Link. I believe I can probably also upgrade Lana a little bit here. Not that I've used her yet, though I do plan to in the next level. Okay, that'll do it for badges. Not really much else I can do there. It's time to jump in. So, before I actually jump into the level, I would like to discuss costumes, because certain characters do have certain costumes, and I've not really had a good opportunity to talk about this up until now. Link, so far, is the only character that I've unlocked and got playable that has costumes. Most of them that you will unlock through the various adventure maps are palette swaps. They are references to various different Zelda games, but they are just palette swaps. However, the more sort of main characters do have a few more unique variations. So with Link here, we of course have the soldier tunic that he was wearing at the start of the game, and one of the only bits of new content added in Definitive Edition, we have this Breath of the Wild costume. Now, obviously, it's nice to see Breath of the Wild referenced, but something about it does look kind of off, and I feel this way for most of these, like, direct take their design from this game costumes, because they're like a halfway between Link's actual design in this game and the design that they're referencing, and it just doesn't quite look right. I probably will use it at some point, but for the story, I'll probably just keep everyone in their standard costumes. Anyway, I would like to play as Lana.
The leader of the resistance in Faron Woods was a young sorceress named Lana. She was of the same clan as Sia, who had summoned the monsters to Hyrule. Lana had been fighting Sia's army since it arrived. Sia now sought to complete the Triforce and use it to conquer Hyrule. Link and Impa decided to join forces with Lana to prevent further tragedy. Although the monsters of Faron Woods had been defeated, Sia still controlled most of Hyrule. Every day, more creatures appeared and swarmed the land. Link and Impa fought on against the darkness, sorely missing Zelda's leadership. Only one solution remained: stem the tide of monsters by closing the Gate of Souls. The heroes headed to the Valley of Seers to put an end to the bloodshed.
Okay, right, let me just get a survey of the battlefield going. There's a few places that I need to keep an eye out for as I'm playing. So, West Ruins is one, West Keep is another. They are next to each other, that is nice. Ruin Summit, I believe that's right at the top, yep. And then West Temple is there. Okay, so everything I'm looking out for is on the west of the map, which is nice. Should make it nice and easy to remember. Okay, so can't remember if we've got a cutscene going into this level, but all of you guys who weren't here for the start screen are about to hear quite possibly one of the best tracks in this game, maybe in the entire Zelda series. So yeah, this theme might just be one of the best themes in the game. It is so goddamn good, and it's one of the originals as well. It is not based on an existing bit of music, but it's so climactic. It sells the idea that this is the final battle, and well, as far as these characters are concerned, it is. Right, there were some more assault troops somewhere that I want to deal with quickly. I see them heading for that keep down there. But yeah, this theme is just absolutely goddamn gorgeous. They absolutely cooked with this one. Yes, Beamos are also a thing. They're quite annoying. Make sure you bomb them. If you don't, you'll regret it. Anyway, hey, Sap, welcome on into the stream. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a good day. Who the frick is Lana? Well, as soon as I've dealt with this assault troop, I will be talking about Lana. There we go. Let's swap back over to her. So, Lana is this game's original character. Warriors games do tend to like adding these. Don't know why, they just do. But yeah, Lana has a really, really unique moveset. Basically, she is a spellcaster, and she will summon these like glass platforms and obstacles and stuff. And then what she can do, once she's summoned one, is she can do this jump attack, and you did see me do it while I was muted. If she collides with one of her glass panes, or whatever you want to call them while she's doing that, she will basically springboard off it and launch a giant blast of lightning magic. Because Lana is the first... Well, actually no, Sheik was also lightning elemental, but I forgot to talk about it there. Oh. Well, that's awkward. Impa died. How did that happen? But anyway, so lightning elemental effects. Basically, it's kind of a weird one. Enemies in the air will get hit by lightning strikes. It's odd. Right, okay. I don't even know where Impa was. I don't think Impa was even controllable by me yet. But yeah, a lot of people don't like Lana because they say she doesn't really fit into the Zelda series. She's a bit too much sort of just anime-ish. And I do kind of get where they're coming from, but I don't mind her. She's cute, she has a fun moveset, and yeah, she does kind of look like Hatsune Miku, doesn't she? I wonder if that was their inspiration. Okay, right, Impa is in trouble, so I am getting Sheik over there. And then I will have Link and Lana try to intercept these assault troops. Now, I do believe killing Volga is optional in this level, but apparently not really, because it'll just kill Impa. Yeah, her style is definitely a little out of place, but she's fine. She's no less out of place than certain characters we're going to be seeing later on. Oh, I love... This attack isn't, like, the best in terms of damage, but it is just so fun to use. It's mainly her hair, it's too blue. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. That said, though, I keep referencing the Oracle games, but Nehru in that game does have blue hair. Maybe that's where they're... maybe that's what they were referencing? Probably not. I think I'm stretching with all of these Oracle references I keep finding. But I just like the Oracles. I like to see them referenced, so I look for references. Alright, let's get my damage barrier up. I really should have been using that from the start. Compared to a certain map maker, Lana seems quite normal. Yes. Anyone seems normal next to him. Hey, Volga, where you going, buddy? I'm not done with you yet. Right, how are we doing on those assault troops? Also, who do I need to take West Ruins with? West Keep, sorry. Doesn't matter. Okay. I'll just go and take it as Sheik then. Seeing as I'm right here. There's a fair bit more to manage in this level compared to the past three. Again, they are trying to play up the idea that we're at the final battle here, which, I mean, obviously we're not. We're only one stream into the game. Also, yeah, new enemy in the mix. Dark Nuts from Twilight Princess. Always love their Twilight Princess design. It's a real pleasure to see them here. It is possible to expose their weak point gauge by just circling around them, which is quite fun. You basically make them dizzy. It's quite hard to do. I don't seem to be doing it fast enough. Yeah, it's not very useful, but it is a neat thing that you can do. Okay, brand new weapon. Probably won't be seeing that in action today, but that is nice to have. Yeah, I think those assault troops got killed off. It is nice that you can rely on the characters to do stuff for you now while you're not controlling them. It does make balancing things and managing things a lot easier. If they're in their block animation, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess if they're trying to block, they won't be trying to like circle around with you. I was going to swap to someone to take this other keep, but it looks like Sheik is closest. I don't know why Lana's gone all the way back to base. Those assault troops aren't alive still, are they? Because if they're at base, then I have a bigger problem on my hands than I think. Oh shit, no, okay, yeah, no. Lana, I thought you killed them. Okay, that went a bit weird there. Yeah, Lana has some fun moves. I don't think I've unlocked her best ones yet, though. I think I'm going to need to invest some badges into her. Oh, hello. Beamos over here. God, Sheik is so fun to play as. I don't know if she's my favourite character in this game, but she's certainly a contender. Okay, new obstacle to deal with. I think you all know what that means. We're going to be getting a new item soon. Well, hello there, Sia. I see you're deciding to make an entrance. I'll talk a bit more about you when we actually see you in the flesh. Emphasis on the flesh. She certainly shows a lot of it. Giant tentacles. Think I've seen this anime. Right, where's this engineer that I've got to escort? Right, I will send Link's pretty close by as... Actually, no, he's not. Lana is closer. Send Lana to protect him, and then I can always jump in if need be. Right, where is this Skulltula going to spawn? Because I'm nearly there. Okay. It's not going to spawn somewhere that I can't access, thankfully. I was a little worried about that. because I am closing in on that 1,000 kills. Yeah, it's really easy to get 1,000 kills in both the Wii U and Switch versions of this. On the 3DS it is a lot harder, because there just tend to be a lot less enemies spawned in for, I mean, obvious reasons. The 3DS version is fine if it is literally the only option you have to play this, but it's definitely the one I would recommend least. Okay, it looks like my engineer has been intercepted. And there are some enemies going down there, so Link, if you could cut those darknuts off, please. Thank you. There we go, got one of those attacks off, nice. And the Skulltula has spawned, okay. Link is heading that way, so let's quickly go and get it. Yeah, the NPCs do sometimes just get completely cut off, and it's quite annoying. Right, I'll leave you dealing with them, Link, because the engineer is more important. Okay, I think I'm gonna need Sheik to intercept those guys as well. Yeah, there's a lot more battlefield management that needs to be done in this chapter. Oh god, I forgot how lacking early game Lana is. She's missing some of her best moves. She gets a lot more fun to control later on. But that is kind of true of most of the characters. Right, engineer is nearly at his destination. Perfect. Right, he's there, so I can go and save this keep that's about to fall. And I don't think it matters too much if it does fall. It's only really if your allied base falls when it starts becoming an issue. God, there's so many darknuts here. Thankfully, I have a big bloody flamethrower. I'm definitely starting to appreciate this weapon a lot more today. I don't tend to play it very often. Like I said, I usually just tend to go for Sword and Shield for Link. What on earth am I fighting with? This is the Fire Rod. It's a really spruced up Fire Rod. It is wild. I mean, it is a Warriors game. These games are known for being so incredibly over the top. Right, so there's two paths to the summit. I'm going to have Link... Well, I'm controlling him, but I'm going to have him come this way. And then I'm going to have Lana go up the other way. But yeah, this thing can turn into an axe, it can turn into a flamethrower. It is really cool. Okay, that keeper's mine. Nice. I'll swap over to Lana then. Oh. Right, let's go deal with that summoner then. I'm quite close by. Yeah, Link just get a ton of weapons, so it's very easy to overlook some of them. But again, he is the main character of the series, so I think we can allow it. Let's get rid of that Beamos. Oh, finally I can play as Impa. Bloody hell, took a time. Right, okay. Two guys coming down. Link. You take one. Impa, you are on really low health. Please try not to die, but take the other. Okay, you're heading for the allied base. I saw that, so let me kill you while I'm here. Impa, you are not going where I thought you would go. No one is, actually, thinking about it. Impa, you're going the opposite way that I told you to go. Link has one of your favourite weapons. I have a feeling I know which one you mean. And yeah, I will keep that one a secret until it comes up. Okay, you are very low on health, Impa. Wasn't even while I was controlling you. Ooh, I can do with some support over here. Also, yeah, very rarely referenced enemy. It's not just Lizalfos we've got Dinolfos as well. Which are the upgraded versions of Lizalfos you fight in Ganon's Tower in Ocarina of Time. I think they're also a bit more common in Majora's Mask as well. Yeah, pulling out a lot of obscure references today. God, these guys do not want to expose their weak points. That should kill the Dinolfos. I think the Lizalfos is still alive, though. Yes. He should not be anywhere near as much trouble, though. Hopefully. How do I see my defeat conditions? Okay, I don't need to worry about that East Keep then. Okay, it should be you dealt with. Nice. I will head over there and defend it anyway, why not? I like to be thorough. I tend to find you don't get the opportunity to be this thorough in adventure mode because time is a lot more important there. So I like to just enjoy these levels to the fullest when I'm playing through Legend mode. Okay, it's you dealt with. Right, switch over to Sheik, because I do want Sheik to get up to the summit, because I do believe she has a heart container up there. Also, I may just be extending this level because of how awesome the music is. That is a possibility. Okay, I'm assuming I can't get in this side, can I? No. Link got in there somehow, though. Link, how did you get in there? Oh yeah, this place is a really cool level. And considering it's one of the original ones as well, I think they did a really, really good job with it. I love how the sky looks. Right, I'm not sure how you got in here, Link, but you're in here, so let's kick some butt. There's a Beamos over there that needs dealing with. Okay, it's time for item number 3, I believe. The Boomerang. It's probably my least favourite of the ones that I remember. But it will be helpful for cutting down some vines. Right, well, it's time to meet the main lady herself. Oh? Ah, Link the great hero. Let me get a good look at you. The Triforce is resonating so powerfully, Link. 2. I see. That's certainly welcome news. Come forth, servant. So, Sia here is our main villain for the game, and not for the obvious reasons. I like her design quite a bit. I like the whole, like, Plague Doctor Mask aesthetic she's got going on. Again, I'm also probably stretching, but she reminds me a little bit of Viren from Oracle of Ages. Might just be because they're both female witchy villains. Also, again, I am just kind of stretching looking for these Oracle references. But, yeah, her design is interesting. She is quite a fun main villain, though. Right, let's get this Keep Boss taken down, get my heart container, and then it's time to deal with the most funnily named of the original Zelda bosses, Manhandler. Now, of the bosses we're seeing today, Manhandler is probably my least favourite. He is quite annoying to fight. And a lot of that is to do with the boomerang. But there's just one particular attack he has as well that I hate dealing with. Anyway, here he is. Again, quite a nice modernization of a Zelda 1 design. Well, Manhandler, you were supposed to prove how annoying to fight you are, but you made that really easy for me. I see Blunter is also a fan of Sia's design. See, there's a lot of very cultured people in chat today. Yeah, I love how Manhandler looks when you break it open. It's got the bright red crystal inside. Just a very classic Zelda design. Okay, didn't quite get all the heads that time. Yeah, I have not learned how to bait the attacks that I want. Maybe I should do that. Speaking of, there we go. Okay, nice. All 4 in 1 again. If you just keep doing that, Manhandler, me and you are going to get along just fine. Okay, yeah, me and you are getting along just fine. It's his other attack where he spits out seeds that I find really annoying to deal with. Okay, so Manhandler is a coward. He's running away. And of course he's back. Being a plant, he can grow all over the place. Alright, let's start taking these guys down. Basically, these are kind of like Deku Babas, except you boomerang them instead of shoot them with a bow. Manhandler doesn't do this every time you fight him. This is kind of like a specific level exclusive thing. It's just here to pad this level out a little bit. Oh. I guess that was the real him. Hello. Yeah, that attack I find really annoying to deal with. Okay, stay away from you for a moment. Oh, hello. Okay, let's get that seed of yours out, please. Or core, whatever it is. I guess it's not really a seed, is it? It's like a gemstone. Okay, you've got one more round in you. Okay. Don't know if it'll be a full round, though. You've only got a slither of health left. Yep, there we go. Nice. I do believe that is the end of the level. Pretty long one, that one, but a pretty fun one. Sheik, that's... How nice of you to bring me the Triforce of Wisdom as well. That means I have all 3 pieces. Behold, the awesome majesty of the completed Triforce. No! Link, run! Sia, the time to call the fragments of my spirit is now. Yes, I can feel them seeking me out. Everyone, gather around me. Gate of Souls, hear my voice, and open. My spirit will be freed. Excellent work, child. 3 fragments of my spirit have been returned. The only piece that remains is the one trapped by the Master Sword.
Sia had already claimed the Triforce of Power. From Link, she stole the Triforce of Courage. The Triforce of Wisdom was the birthright of the royal family of Hyrule. Yet Sheik bore it when Sia attacked. Once Sia possessed all the pieces of the Triforce, she used its incredible power to bend time and space and open doorways through the ages. Portals to 3 eras appeared. Lana explained to the others that a Gate of Souls had been opened in each of these eras, and it was through these gates that the monsters came. By opening these gates, Sia had released the fragment of evil spirit imprisoned in each of the other eras. The task before the heroes was therefore to travel through each portal and close its gate. Once all the gates were closed, they could begin repairing the damage Sia had inflicted on their land. With time growing short, Link and his allies split up to handle all 3 gates simultaneously. They each vowed to close their gate and return safely.
Why is the music so happy? Well, it's because this is where the game starts getting really good. Okay, that is a new weapon for Lana. Probably won't be getting to explain how that plays today. It is very nearly the end of stream. So yeah, this game is split into multiple acts. Everything that I've played today, all 4 of these levels, is just Act 1, the prologue. And now it's time to head into Act 2, which is split into 3 sub-acts. So up until now, the fan service has been fairly tame. We've seen some enemies from different games, we've seen Zelda 1 bosses. But so far, the game has kind of established itself as its own era on the Zelda timeline. But now, we're about to start jumping properly into the fan service stuff. going to be seeing levels from Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword. When this game first came out on the Wii U, these were essentially the only 3 games that Hyrule Warriors referenced, and people did have complaints about that, but I do get why they decided to focus it on only a couple of games. And now that we've got all of the content from the DLC, the 3DS version as well, I feel like we've got a better balanced spread of what games are referenced, and I think referencing these 3 to start with makes sense. You've got the classic, you've got the latest 3D release, and then you've got one that's kind of similar to both. It kind of sits in the middle of them nicely. But yeah, I'm not going to be getting into any of these levels today, because as you've probably seen, levels are quite long in Legend mode, and there's only, 10 minutes of stream left today, so I don't think I'm going to be fitting another one in, but that was kind of where I wanted to get to today anyway. I do think I should be able to get through more levels next time, just because a lot of today was, talking about stuff, explaining things, and that obviously takes some time. Before I finish up though, we'll just check out my badges for my 5 characters. Okay, a few new attacks on Link. Looks like Impa's got a few new combos to unlock as well. No, she has 1 to unlock. Right. Probably the same for Sheik, I imagine. No, Sheik has a few. Okay. Oh, well, this one isn't a combo. It depletes the weak point gauge, but, same difference. Then this... Oh, it's a boomerang upgrade. Lovely. I do just love the boomerang. Okay, so Lana's got a new combo. Got the weak point gauge one as well. And then she probably has some combos for her new weapon. Yes. Oh, and I can upgrade her defenses as well. Upgrade her healing. Give her element reduction. All that good stuff. And yeah, that'll do it. Yes, so that is the first 3 hours of Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition done. Only, I don't know, 400 more to go? Something like that. But yeah, it's been a good introduction to the game today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you're starting to see why I like this game so much. It's just fun, satisfying gameplay, lots of fan service, some really, really good music. And yeah, next time I will be jumping into the worlds of Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, and seeing what exciting adventures they hold. Maybe I should have streamed those games before I streamed this. Oh well. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will be back on Wednesday with some more Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Also, all going to plan, I do believe we are planning to do a collab Minecraft stream this week. I think Sam said that his internet and computer are now working. If that does go ahead, that will be over here this week. And so, if anyone in chat has not followed Ben and Sam, please do. They are good friends of mine and great streamers. Ben is currently playing through one of his favourite games of all time, Sonic Adventure, and Sam is on a bit of a stream break at the moment, but I'm hoping we'll see him return very soon. Right, I am in a Zelda mood, and it looks like someone on my follow list is playing one of the Zelda games that hasn't actually been referenced yet today. Well, it kind of has a little bit, but that's about it. So, let's get this raid going. There we go. Right then, guys. Have a good one. And I'll see you later. Get it? See you later? Because that's her name. Yeah, bye.